Have you ever heard of a man who walked across America barefoot, carrying nothing but a satchel full of apple seeds? A man who didn't conquer with power or money, but with kindness, vision, and trees. This isn't a fairy tale. It's the remarkable true story of Johnny Appleseed, the humble wanderer who turned seeds into a legacy that would last for centuries. Before we begin this incredible journey, make sure to like and subscribe for more amazing stories from history. Johnny Appleseed's real name was John Chapman, born on September 26, 1774, in Leominster, Massachusetts. He came into the world at a time of great change. The American Revolution was just beginning, and the colonies were fighting for their independence. His father, Nathaniel Chapman, served in the Continental Army, while his mother passed away when John was still very young. Life was tough, but even as a child, John found comfort and fascination in nature. He loved wandering through the woods, studying plants and trees, and observing the world around him with a quiet curiosity. As he grew older, America itself was expanding. Families were moving west, searching for land and new opportunities. In his early 20s, John decided to join this movement, but in his own unique way. He set out on foot toward the western frontier, carrying a leather bag filled with apple seeds he collected from cider mills in Pennsylvania. Now, apples were far more than just a sweet treat in those days. They were essential for survival. Settlers used them for food, cider, vinegar, and trade. In fact, planting apple trees was one of the ways you could prove land ownership, which was crucial for families building new lives from scratch. John understood this deeply, but contrary to the popular legend, he didn't just scatter seeds randomly as he walked. He carefully chose good spots along rivers and near future settlements, planted nurseries, and fenced them in to protect the young saplings from animals. He often left these nurseries in the care of trustworthy locals, promising to return later to tend them. His work was thoughtful, strategic, and deliberate. Over time, this gentle traveler became a familiar and welcome figure across Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Just picture him, a thin, long-haired man, dressed in simple, often ragged clothes, sometimes even wearing a cooking pot on his head as both a hat and cookware. He traveled barefoot, even across tough terrain, and carried little more than his bag of seeds, a Bible, and his kind spirit. He sold his young trees for a few pennies, sometimes gave them away for free, and clearly cared more about spreading life than he ever did about making money. Johnny Appleseed wasn't just a planter. He was also a preacher of kindness. He followed the teachings of Emanuel Swedenborg, a Christian mystic, and believed that nature was sacred and that God could be found in the world all around us. As he traveled, he shared stories, moral lessons, and spiritual messages with anyone who would listen. He lived lightly on the earth, respecting animals and people alike. There are famous stories about him putting out his campfire so he wouldn't harm mosquitoes, or giving his own blanket to a shivering horse on a cold night. Now, whether all these tales are 100% factual or not, they reflect how people saw him as a man of extraordinary gentleness and compassion. The American frontier in those days was a wild and challenging place. Thick, seemingly endless forests stretched for miles. Winters were brutally harsh, and life was filled with uncertainty. In this rough landscape, Johnny Appleseed became a symbol of hope. He often reached new, untamed lands even before the settlers did, planting nurseries that would be waiting to welcome them when they finally arrived. Imagine families, after a long and difficult journey, finding young apple trees already growing, thanks to his earlier visits. It was as if he had prepared the land for them, quietly and faithfully. He also built strong friendships with Native American tribes. Many tribes respected and welcomed him, allowing him to pass peacefully through their lands. He became known as someone who brought life, not conflict. His simple lifestyle and peaceful travels made him a truly unique figure in a very turbulent time. As the years passed, his name transformed from John Chapman into Johnny Appleseed, a legendary figure celebrated in stories and songs. He never saw fame, but his good deeds spoke louder than any promotion ever could. By the early 1800s, he had planted thousands upon thousands of apple trees across the frontier, shaping communities and landscapes in ways few individuals ever have. Unlike most men of his time, Johnny never settled down. He never built a permanent home, married, or accumulated any wealth. He simply continued traveling, planting, and sharing his vision throughout his entire life. He passed away in March of 1845 near Fort Wayne, Indiana, at around 70 years old. By then, his nursery stretched across multiple states, and his legend had already begun to grow. Over time, fact and folklore started to blend together. Some stories were exaggerated, turning him into an almost mythical character. But at the heart of it all lies a simple truth. Johnny Appleseed was a real man whose kindness, hard work, and vision transformed the land. Today, nearly 2 centuries later, his name lives on. Towns hold Johnny Appleseed festivals, parks and trails bear his name, and statues honor his memory. But his greatest legacy isn't made of bronze or stone, it's the countless apple trees, or their descendants, that still grow on the lands he once walked. Johnny Appleseed's story is a powerful reminder that true impact doesn't always come from power or wealth. Sometimes, it comes from quiet, consistent acts of care. He didn't fight battles or build empires. He walked, he planted, and he shared. With nothing but a bag of seeds and a heart full of hope, he helped shape a nation. So the next time you bite into a crisp, delicious apple, take a moment to think of the barefoot wanderer who planted dreams across America. Johnny Appleseed's life proves that one person, armed with a simple vision and a kind heart, truly can make a world of difference. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more tales from history. We'll see you in the next one.